All right, guys, we're live. You can hear me, right?
GM, guys. Yeah, loud and
Yeah,
clear.
GM. All right, that's cool. GM, guys. Hope everyone is having a fantastic week already. Today is Wednesday, and amazingly, this is the last day of the month. And what are you seeing in the markets? What are you expecting? And it's obvious now that the month is going to close as a red candle. What are your expectations going into next year?
Well, for me,
Are
the
you there?
expectation, yeah, I can hear you clearly. The expectation for me is in this week, I don't really expect much price action, right? To be honest, but if we're talking about generally 2026, it's almost a better expectation like what we had in 2025. Like when we were getting into 2025, there was like a huge expectations of good price action because of Donald Trump. The market is looking would be looking better from what happened in 2024. Because 2024 we had like I think towards the fourth quarter, we had a boom
Yeah.
kind of like pumping of some certain tokens. So there was this euphoria, this excitement. So also going into the new year, people were having that optimism that we'll have that continued pump, which it was good. I think for the first month in January, February, we had a little bit of a good month before the whole DeepSeek thing happened. Then
Yeah.
all our troubles started 1 month at a time. So now that we've had somewhat of a would I call it a troublesome year or kind of a mixed year where we've seen the bad, we've seen a whole lot of downs, we've seen a few pumps. So I'm optimistic about 2026, right? So let's see how it plays out. But me, I like to take mine a week at a time, then a month at a time. So if we're looking at what is happening now, uh, Bitcoin's price action at least it's not really that bad. Okay, so most people would like to be optimistic and look at it like, okay, we are closer to the bottom, right? Even for most alt
Yeah.
has,
Yeah.
has has touched bottom. So it's like a good outlook if you're optimistic and say, "Oh, yeah, we're closer to the bottom. Any good news, improved price action, January people no, it's January that people make New Year resolutions, to trade better, to get fit, eat
Yeah.
healthy, all those stuff. So there's this renewed energy, right? So if we get that in the market, we could see alt pump. And now the thing is that, like I said before, alt are at a very,
Your
would I use the word
voice,
pump
your
bottom? So
network is
talking about pumpable, yeah,
the network
talking
was
about
lagging.
pumpable levels, if you look at like Sora did, yeah, Sora did more than 50% yesterday, right? And I've said that before, these odds, it will be easy for them to pump good pumps, maybe 3x, 4x, 5x pumps. Why? Because, 2 weeks ago, that was like their base price, right? So that's probably what we're going to see in January going forward. Pumps, odds pumping good pumps back to the prices that they were like maybe 2.5 weeks ago. So with that, we can now begin to, most people don't do journaling, so they probably don't know the
They
price
don't
at
really know what's
which
happening.
they got into certain trades, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so by the time they see those tokens start pumping, they think, oh, it's profit and profit. No, you're just trying to break even. So that will bring in some fresh happiness, positive vibes, and probably much needed capital inflow. So that's what I'm expecting, at least from next week, basically.
Yeah. For those just joining GMGM, please feel free to share the link and invite anyone, and also drop your questions on time. Yeah. So let's look at what's happening in the markets. let's just look at some pumps we've seen today. But first, let's look at the overall market outlook. Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
No. The screen is, yeah, I can see it now.
Just a minute. I'm trying to see. Okay, it's visible, yeah? Yeah, GMGM
Yes, it
everyone.
is.
Yeah, GMGM everyone. All right, good. So this is the past 24 hours. Nothing amazing has happened in the market, so I won't be spending much time here. We spoke about gold correction. It has bounced a little bit. You can see it here, bounced a little bit, but it's still down from its all-time price that it's created in just this month. So it's still in negative from that all-time high. But overall, this year it's a very, very good profit this year. Now, altcoins, they haven't really done much move between yesterday and today. So it's fair to say if we look at the last day of the year overall, from this time last year till date, you find out that the market is still at a huge discount. And that's how I put it. The market is still at a very, very, very huge discount. So whatever you're buying right now, you're buying it way cheaper than it was last year. So it's pretty fair to say that we are going to see a bullish first half or first quarter of 2026. It's pretty, pretty fair to say that because overall, just glancing through most altcoins, there are huge discounts. Look at AVAX, 60 something percent from this time last year. Look at SEI, 72%. Now, they were not always like this, by the way. In the month of August, most of them were up in profits from last year's December price. Most of them, like AVAX was almost at $40, $30 something around September, October, or thereabout. Yeah, Benjo was obviously in good profits. Yeah, most of them, if you just go back and look at the prices, you find out that they were up in profits from December 2024 price. Yeah, but now they are discounts, so I'll urge people take advantage of this opportunity and back the ones you feel comfortable with. Yeah, Sui is not bad, Uniswap is not bad, Virtual is not bad. Yeah, there are so many that are not bad. Ton is not bad. Even Penjo, if you're going for memes, Penjo is not bad. Link is not bad. Filecoin, not bad. There are some very, very good projects. Even Aave ain't bad at all. So you might want to pick the ones you're very comfortable with and accumulate them. So next, let's look at some projects that were swinging, how they've performed. So Folks is actually at a good price where I love to get in to be able to do like a bit of scalping, 30, 40, 50%, and I'm out. So it's at that zone again, just the zone I prefer buying now. River, I spoke about River yesterday, that it was coming down to my entry level again. I got a little, just a little. My full order was not activated because I have different levels. The last place I wanted to buy was around 3.6, I think. But I was only able to get at 4 point something. Yet, and this morning I woke up that pumped to $7. I've set my SL at 6.8, basically. Yeah, so which is still over 50% profit from where I got in. Although, like I said, since I do this year most times, I was unable to complete my full buy order. I buy most times at 3 stages, but I don't only done the first stage. If it had come down to like 3.6 and maybe 3.4 or 3.3, I would have completed all of my buys. But it was just the first buy that went through, which that one is a profit now, and I've set my SL. So I won't be advising anyone to go buy a River at this price. It doesn't make sense. You have to wait for the correction again to happen, then before you get back in. Now we spoke about Sora yesterday because some persons were asking about Sora. And we spoke about it yesterday. It was at 500 and something K yesterday. And I was saying something that why it's dumped that much was because of the team hasn't dropped any information yet. So most persons just be selling. I believe it was intentional. And I did make something obvious that once they start dropping information, for example, this site, they haven't pushed this yet. They have not pushed this update yet. Once they start tweeting and dropping information, the price will bounce. Now we've seen a bounce yesterday because they dropped this yesterday afternoon, and this brought some spikes to the price, pumping it to almost 800k from around 500k where it was. So it did over 50% pump. So this is why I was telling you guys that as long as you have like a long-term plan on most of those projects, or you're doing DCA and you're doing it right, how this stuff works, so that you guys can see it. So you can see the current solar price. Yeah, can you see my screen? You can see the solar, right?
Yeah, I can see CoinGecko. Yes.
Okay. Now, if you notice, yesterday when we were speaking, when we were talking about solar, it was around 540, 500k FGB. Now you can see it pumped all the way to almost 1M. Pumped to about 1M, almost 100% pump up. Fair, minimum 50% pump. That's what it did. And why did it do that pump? It was just because of that tweet to show you that the team is still active. Now, another thing you should notice, for the fact that a simple tweets, holiday tweets, brought in over 600k volume and pumped it from around 500k to almost 1M. That shows you that investors are still there. They're still watching. They're still paying attention. Like they're still very much paying attention. For people that use trading bots, they will trade those bots that maybe take signals or monitor certain accounts. Those persons now would have very much capitalized on this because they'll just set their bots to listen to the tweets. Again, once they drop any tweet, the bot will just trigger a buy order on this project, and most times that's what they do, and they benefit from most of all of this spontaneous price action caused by maybe a tweet that was dropped. So, but analyzing this, it shows you that people are still watching, they're still paying attention. Now, imagine what would happen come January should they now push an update or now start tweeting how they were tweeting before, almost every 2 days or thereabouts. They're dropping tweets, updates, and all of those things. What do you think would happen? And most times, you need to factor in some information that we're already aware of, which is this project is already on the radar of Binance Smart Chain community. You get like the official Binance Smart Chain Twitter account. It's on their radar, and I think is it the CTO or the CEO of Binance Smart Chain. They have also engaged with them, and also one of the co-founders of Binance itself, I'm a lady, she has also engaged with it. So most times people shouldn't forget some of these minor details and information. You need to still factor it in. Because when you're choosing to either gradually accumulate or when you're choosing to like add it to your watch list, anyone, you need to actually pay attention to this informations. So next, let's look at the charts. Let's just jump to the chart straight. Let's first start with BTC. Let's look at BTC. So this is a Bitcoin chart. We're still having this trade, although I said it that chances of it coming back to this point is very, very slim, but nothing has really changed based on BTC chart yet. It's still basically ranging. But now there's a trade that we're actually on. Let me open that. There's a trade we're currently on, which is Apex. We're on this Apex trade. We share this trade on the community. So for those watching, you can see how it's playing out. The trade has actually touched our TP. It has obviously gone past TP1 and obviously above. It has touched TP2 rather. Now let's see if you check where this trade has hit. It has actually done our usual 1 to 2 that we love trading. You Okay, it has done more than 1 to 2 actually. It did 1 to 2.2. Look at it, 1 to 2.2. So if you check most of our trades, we usually do 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Get this has actually hit that 1 to 2. It has hit that this morning. It almost did yesterday. This was where it got to yesterday. 1.95. You get, so it almost did yesterday. But yeah, today it has gone above 1 to 2. But yeah, our target for this particular trade was around 1 to 3.45. So here now you can choose to start setting your trading stop loss to protect some profit. If you didn't yesterday around here, if you did not, you can actually start doing that now because you're already up in very, 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 very good profit, like really, really good profit. You get, so it doesn't make sense holding this trade all the way back to here again. Like it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to hold this trade all the way back to this level. Like if you do that, then there's something wrong with you. Sincerely, if you do that, there's truthfully something wrong with you. Now, if you didn't take this trade, then you're most likely not taking the stuff we're doing here serious. Okay, because most times you just need to take these trades, even if you're not risking so much, no matter how little, just so you can experience most of the stops real time and you can start applying proper risk management. Very, very, very important. Because when you do, that's when you'll be exposing yourself to real-time trading experience. That's when you find out that probably around here, when you got to somewhere here, you had already set up yours, and maybe you exited around somewhere here and making about 150% profit. Because if you exited somewhere here, it's 150% profit you would have made, making about 150%, and probably maybe you never got back in to get at this and lower levels, which this trade actually gave opportunities to get back in, because me, I exited somewhere around here based on trailing stop loss and I got back in. But you would only be able to see that at lower time frame. The entry it gave, yeah, so here's the entry that it gave. This was it. This was actually the re-entry that it gave, which was at our TP1. You get, that re-entry was because it went back and it was bouncing around our TP1 level. That's where it was bouncing. So the re-entry was around that TP1, basically. That's where it gave the re-entry position. You get, so if you can't be able to anticipate or see these things or experience these things if you're not taking these trades. You literally can't. You can't. And you can't stop seeing trading as fake or as gamble if you're really not following all of this process. So you have to follow in the processes. And also too, you can't be able to come up with proper risk management if you are actually not paying attention and taking these trades. Let's assume this trade eventually goes down and hits the stop loss. And there are some persons that did not apply risk management, either moving SL to break even or protecting TP1 or TP2. There are some persons that never did that. That will be a lesson for them, because they will flash back and see that, oh, they were actually up in very good profit, about 200% profit or 220% profit, and they never secured it. They did not even put it at move their SL to break even, and it went back and they ended up getting a loss. That would be a huge lesson for them, especially for people that journal their trades. That would be a huge lesson. Another thing you should also pay attention to, which was why I had to like still trade this pair, is because looking at, which I told you guys, I think on Monday or thereabout, looking at the performance a few times I traded it last week. All of the trades actually did well, which was one of the reasons why I also increased my targets, my TP targets on this one. Instead of the usual 1 to 2, I actually increased it. If not, I've just left it somewhere here, 1 to 2. I actually increased it to as high as this point because of it's quite volatile. As long as you have a good entry, it's very volatile. I told you guys here, like subsequent trades I took, it went way above my targets, you get, and most of it I didn't capitalize on it because it's happened so fast that I could not go and adjust my take profits. I did not. This one, I think this one vexed me because it just went so fast and it hit my TP. So I could not even adjust and it kept going all the way up. Even when I was hoping for a re-entry, it never came back, just continued all the way up. So when you look at the history, like personally, my trade history on this Apex, it was actually good. So I could afford to like still keep trading it because it's been like, respecting the levels that I've been drawing on the charts and I understand how it moves. Another one that I would have loved to trade, but I've not just had the time to look at the charts is where's it? Savantis. Ever since I missed a very good entry, I just left it. Yet Avantis, maybe later I'll take time to like look at the charts again. I should take time to do that later, but I've not just had that time to look at the chart. But looking at it, it has also been behaving well. I'm just expecting it to do like a reasonable correction to my levels of interest before I start looking for entry points. Yeah, so it's very, very important you pay attention to this. And that trade maybe I'll look at later is bio. Yeah, I'll definitely look at bio. Definitely, because bio also has like a reasonable chart, reasonable price action, which is why I told you guys that I'm not yet looking at Asta because I don't understand how this Asta chart is moving. It hasn't gotten down to the points I'm interested in or the levels I'm actually interested in. It hasn't, but maybe sooner or later it will do that. And the volatility is quite low on Asta. The volatility is very, 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 very low, like very, very low. So yeah, it's important you pay attention to most of these trades, like very, very, very important. Those are the questions you can start and dropping your questions before we round up. So let's look at some other charts. Where's Ethereum? Can't find Ethereum. Another chart that, okay, so we drew this on Gigo. We actually have this on Gigo. We drew this on Gigo where we're expecting it to come down to trigger our entry, but that is yet to happen. So hopefully, if BTC decides to misbehave today, we can have this Gigo trade triggered. Hopefully, if BTC does what we're expecting, and that might be interesting to trade in Uniswap. So we dropped this on Uniswap yesterday. Yeah, we dropped this on Uniswap. As when we dropped it, the trade had not yet triggered. Personally, I've not taken this trade yet. I haven't taken this trade yet. And one of the reasons why I haven't taken it is because BTC price action is not yet looking very certain. So I've not yet taken this trade. I'm still watching it. Still very much watching this Uniswap trade. But yeah, we drew this yesterday while Uniswap was still somewhere around here. That's when we drew this, when Uniswap was still somewhere around here. So BTC, if BTC should do a minor correction, Uniswap can just go all the way down, take out this SL. It might, or I should still analyze that trade before I decide. Maybe I would communicate it. But for now, I've not taken this trade yet. Personally, I've not taken that trade yet. Another project that I'm looking at is Order. I'm looking at Order, but this is for sports, not for features. For sports, I'm actually looking at Order. If it should, I'm expecting it to run very well because it's a very, very solid project. And it's a liquidity layer for most DEX platforms. So Order or Orderly, whichever you choose to call it. I'm actually looking at it to start accumulating long term. So let's take some questions. Personally, I don't know if you have some things you would want to like share, after which we take some questions, then we'll call it a day.
No, I don't really have much to share. I'm just, like I said in yesterday's stream, I'm still looking at the market for sentiment, right? That would really let me know the angle I want to go in terms of investing, in terms of trend forecasting. So that's more important to me currently. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So someone said, someone is asking about why is this person talking about StreamYard link though? Okay, I don't understand this person asking about StreamYard link. But yeah, that shows you how volatile the crypto markets can be. This is for the person that said I bought 10 ton for just $16. I'm guessing he meant yesterday or today. Whereas about a year ago or thereabout, 10 ton, or probably even 2, 3 years ago, 10 ton was over $80, which is very, very true. Yeah, that shows you how brutal the crypto markets can be and why you should take profit. And it also gives you detailed insights on how discounted ton is right now. I think I don't have the chart open. Yeah. It also lets you know how discounted ton is right now. If I'm to zoom out to the monthly charts, let me zoom out to the ton monthly chart. You can see that ton is down bad, like very, very, very. Okay, ton went all the way down to about 0.5. This was October. That liquidation event that happened October, it went down to 0.5. You understand? So you find that ton is really, really down. Can it still go up to about 3.5? I 100% believe it can go up to 3.5. That's just a approximately 100% pump. So it should be easy for ton to get back above 3.5 or to 3.5. But yeah, it gives you an idea of how brutal the market is and why you should take profits. Look at SUI. Look at SUI. The October event took SUI down to almost its all-time low. You understand, of 0.5, all the way down to 0.5. All right, that SUI is at 1.4. This same SUI pumped late last year to about $5. Late last year pumps to about $5. January, SUI was almost at $5. I know lots of people made money from SUI because they started accumulating from last year at 50 cents, 60 cents, and SUI did like a very, very good pump. I recall very well when SUI was still around 50, 60 cents last year. That's 2024. And it was one of the best performing large cap projects in 2024. Like it performed really well. Whereas Virtual was one of the best performing large cap projects in 2024 to one of the, not the best. Virtual and SUI, they were actually one of the best. Virtual ran from below, it was even below this price. It's just like this is when this exchange listed its Binance. But Virtual was actually below 40 cents. 40 cents for Virtual is 400 million FDV. Virtual was below 40 cents. It was what 0.03 or so, 30 million or 40 million FDV. And Virtual ran all the way to about 5 billion, which is 5 point something dollar, about 5 billion. So Virtual was like arguably the best performing project from last year, talking about large cap projects. The best, and that run was from September, October, September, below 100 million. It ran all the way, and by January, it had touched about $5. So imagine someone that Virtual did you almost 100x. If it's from 50M, you got in to 5 billion. You did about 100x, but you never took profit. Or imagine if you did it like 20x, of which for most persons, you did most persons minimum of 30, 40x, because people got in around 100 million, 200 million or thereabout. And for most persons, they did minimum 20x. So imagine if you did 20x from a project and you refuse to take profits, and now it is down, like back down to maybe 3x from your entry or 4, 5x from your entry. So that there's money in the crypto market. There's money. It's a very, very profitable market. The only challenge and the major issue is most persons do not take profits. That's like the major challenge. Most persons don't take profits. Most persons don't treat it as a business, including me. Again, most of my biggest losses in crypto are the projects that I refused to take profits and I was too bullish on, or I wasn't treating that portfolio as a business. Yeah. Even people that are trading real life businesses, the stock market, they're taking profits. If you look at them on $10, he just sold off, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, $750 million from his Zungeru shares. And we still remember when he bought that some years back, where he spent about $100 million and acquired some shares, pumped the money into Zungeru. And right now, he's pulling out over $700 million. And don't forget, he pulled out that money that he put into Zongero from 40 Oil, yet which he was up in profit. I think it was just before COVID or immediately after COVID. He sold off at how many naira per barrel? Then when fuel was still, I know the price of fuel was the price of the shares then was relatively fair, but it wasn't at all-time high. He even sold, but he sold in profit, and he pumped the money into Zongero. And now Zongero is still a very solid project, profitable company that is doing so well, and there's no signs of it going down. You get, because they're obviously in power generation, but still you're seeing him is taking profits. You get, probably he wants to pump into another industry that he's seeing higher return on investment, maybe, or maybe he just wants to take in money. He wants to reduce his exposure. You get, maybe, you never can tell. But the point is, despite the fact that that project is very, very stable and profitable, he's pulling out profits. You get, his capital is out, good profit is out. That's how people should treat even the crypto market. Yes, it's very, very important. Even those that invested in Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, name it, they take profit. When you're up very high, you take profit. When the shares or that company has been doing all-time high to all-time high to all-time high, you have to take profit. It just doesn't make sense. To me, though, it just doesn't make sense that you be 10x up, 15x up, 20x up, and you're refusing to take profit. Sometimes even as little as 5, 6x up, and you're refusing to take profits, which is like a common stuff on the crypto market. And sadly, that's the genesis of most of the losses you see in the market. It's the genesis. Someone gets in with $100, he's seen it at $1,500. That's already 15x. Person does not want to pull out. Person wants it to get to $10,000. Come on now. You get that doesn't seem so nice. And afterwards, the person ends up losing even the capital and end up facing some psychological setback, because that stuff does something to you. Either you like it or not, it does something to you. So I strongly believe that if people can start treating the market as an actual business, that is where you begin to make like consistent profits. This is what I believe, though. You begin to make consistent profits when you start treating the market as an actual business. Yeah, so Spencer, I don't know if you have anything to say before we call it a day.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. You've actually done on the good talks.
All right, guys. So today is the last day of the year. Hopefully, wishing you guys Happy New Year in advance, and see you guys tomorrow.
Will we stream tomorrow? Because tomorrow is first. Will we actually
No, tomorrow is
stream
first.
tomorrow morning?
No, we're not
No.
seeing tomorrow. We're not streaming tomorrow. We're streaming on Friday again. Yeah, so Happy New Year, guys, in advance, and we'll stream on Friday. But then the crypto market never goes to sleep, so trading continues.
Take care. Bye.
All right, guys. Bye, guys.